our topic number 12, basic questions. So here in this video we will give you some of the basic question. You have to think about that question, you have to get that question, you have to answer that question, and we will describe that question with the flowing things that we have studied in the C language, and we will give you the description as well as the output of that question. So let's move on. Some basic questions. So our first question is void main. So this is our first question. So I think you may have get this question. And so start your output. So start your procedures that you can find the output of this question. So I can say that you may have started, because if you try the question then you are going to get that question, means you are going to get that question in your mind, and with the ability of the thinking you first try the question and then write down on your notebook. After that, solve the question. So I can say that you might have get the right output. So let I am solving the question. How to solve any question? Because in C language, because it is programming, so every word has its meaning. Now, how to solve any question? Proceed it. So we can say that here main, we are using main. So main is what? Main is a function, because parenthesis is open and close. So here main is a function whose return type is void, means empty. Now I am opening the main function because this is used for opening anything. This is curly braces, open curly braces. So it is used for opening the main function. Now I am using a variable int that int a equal to 10. So a here is a variable name who is storing a value 10 in it. Now I am using a data type integer, that a should contain all the integer here. So this is what makes us to solve any question, because we will learn that how to solve any question here in this video. So what we will learn here is that first we are considering here a is equal to 10. So a is a variable whose return type, a is a variable who is storing the value of 10 in it and whose data type is integer. And again semicolon. So semicolon is used for termination. Now after this line we move forward, that is CLR. So this is a function. This is a function in C language. Its use is to clear the screen. So we will use it for clearing the screen, that is CLR. Now again the termination happens, then move toward the next line, printf. So printf is the function. We have studied about the printf function in the previous video. So I think you have guess it right of the questions, and I think you may have been answering the question very well. So what here considered us here is that printf function. So printf function is a function in the studio.h header file. So it is used to display message on the screen, and that is the work of the printf function. So what here is going to be printed, that printf function should be in parenthesis, because its parenthesis must be open and closed. Now in this double quote we are considering here, so a equal to percentage d. So percentage d is a format specified, and format specified is that thing that started with the percentage like this. So we can say that a value is going to be converted with this percentage d. Okay, because it is the work of the format specifier that it will replace its value to the variable. So what will be printed here is that a equal to 10, because a is containing the value 10 in it. Therefore the message will come on the screen that is a equal to 10. Then gauge is used to hold the screen, what it is not the correct thing. The correct thing is that it will get a character. It will get a character. So when the user entered any key or press any key, then the following program terminates. And this is how it works. And this is the, we can say that how to deal with this all kind of the things that we have studied. So I think that you all students have written the question and your answer as well. So I think you may have guessed it right. So our output is a equal to 10. So this is very basic question of C language, because we are using all the element that we have studied so far. We have studied about the data type, we have studied about the clear screen function, we have studied about the printf function, we have studied about the format specifier, we have studied about the variables, we have studied about the gauge function which is used to get a character. So moving on the next question, that is white mean. Again we have a question. So I am just going to give you 1 minute for solving the question. So I think that you all have noted down the question, and you may have tried the question. So finally, I am just going to elaborate the question, that what the question is saying. I am using the same function, that is main. Okay, so main is a function whose return type is void. Then again, I am opening the curly braces, means I am opening the main function. I am using a three variables, that is a, b, and f num, whose return type is integer, long, and float. So a is a variable whose return type is integer, b is a variable whose return type is long int, and f num is a variable whose return type is float. Now we have talked about the variable a, variable b, and f num. Okay, and it is storing the value 10 in it. So a is storing the value 10, b is storing the value 30, and f num is storing the value of 48.87, because it is going to store the value which is float type, because it is going to store the value of long int, and here it will store the value integer only. Now after that, I uses the CLR function. So this function is used to clear the screen. What we have studied here in this video, what we have studied about the function, that its function is to clear the screen. And after that, I have used the printf function, and printf function determine us that printf function is determine us that it is used to display message on the screen, and whatever the message should be in double quotes. So what we have doing here is that we are assigning the percentage which is the format specifier, and format specifier work is to replace the value of a, okay, in this place, and using the escape sequence, that is a new line. After that, we equal to percentage ld, again a format specifier, then escape sequence. This escape sequence help us to create a new line in C language. And f num is a, here we can say, because it is within the double quote, here a f num is used for messaging anything. Okay, equal to percentage f. Now percentage f is a, okay, we can say that it is a format specified, and its work is to store the float value only. So what will the conversion here is that a is going to be printed the value of a. So a is equal to 10 here, then new line. then B is going to be printed equal to 30, then new line, then F num is going to be printed 48.87. So we can say that our output is going to be A equal to 10, B equal to 13, and F num equal to 48.87. And this is very important thing. This format specifier is very important in C language. Okay. And finally, we have uses the gauge function, which is used to hold the screen. What its main function is to get a character. Finally, when the user entered any character, then the main is going to be terminated. So this is how our question number 2 is going to be work, and how we can solve any question. So we can say that you may have get all the points of this question. So moving on the output of these things. So here is the output, that A is equal to 10, B equal to 13, and F num is equal to 48.87. That we have talked about. And because A equal to 10, then new line was there. Therefore, backslash n was a new line, which is a skip sequence. Then after that, a new line appeared. Then again, I have used the backslash n, which is used for a new line. Here you can see here. So C language execute whatever you give. If you write incorrect statement, then C is going to execute incorrect. Okay. So you may have to write all the statements correctly. So moving on the next question, that is the third question. Now again I am using a function, that is main, okay, whose return type is void, and because function is going to be open, therefore I am using curly braces here. Now I have declared a variable ch equal to holding the string value, that is a, and whose data type is char, and char is stored 1 byte only. Now after that, I have used the clrscr function, which is used to clear the screen. Then after that, I have used the printf function, and printf function help us to print anything on the screen. So what I am going to print here is that ch, that is the statement that I am going to print it, equal to percentage k. Now, what is the percentage k, and what is the percentage d? So if you wanted to print a character in C language, then you have to use the percentage k, which is a format specifier. Okay. Percentage d is used for printing any, we can say any integer. So what will be the output here is that a is going to be printed like this: ch equal to a semicolon colon 65, because what we have passed here in CS is its a value, which is the string, and here a string is going to be printed here. Finally, its ASCII value, that is 65. So this is how our third question is going to be solved. So I think you have solved the question, and you may be, your output may be right like this. Okay. Finally, moving on the fourth question, that is this question. It is saying us that main, void main. So void main is a function. Main is a function whose return type is void, and finally we have opened the main function. Now I am just using the clrscr function, which is used to help clear the screen, which is used to clear the screen. Finally, after that, I have using the printf function, which is the inbuilt function in C language, and it is under the studio.h header file. Now, for printing anything on this, it should be within the double quotes, and therefore I am just printing welcome backslash t. So backslash t is a escape sequence whose work is for using the tab. As we have talked about the tab in the keyword, so its work is to press the keys on the tab, that the value is going to be printed in on the screen. So its work is used for the tab in C language. Now finally we can say this is a percentage and percentage s means for the string. Then finally we have printed the string, that is percentage s, and because it is a string therefore it should be within the double quote. Okay, then backslash t, again of escape sequence, its work is for tabbing anything on the screen. Then finally percentage c is used for printing a character on the screen, and a character string is within the single quote, and therefore what will be the output here is that welcome, then tab, then 2 which is the string, then tab again, then c, and because c is a character therefore c is going to be printed. Finally I have used the gauge function which is used to, we can say, hold the screen. What its main function is to get a character from the user. When user press any character, this function is going to be terminated, and we have voice write output. So finally I can say that you may have guessed the right answer. So let's look at the answer, that is welcome to C. This is how. Here you are seeing the gap, here you are seeing the gap. This is the gap of tab. This is the gap of tab in C language. So welcome to C. This is how it is going to be printed. So moving on the next question and our final question, that is our fifth question, that is void main. Again I have a question that is so simple, we can say, because we are just focusing on the basic question, and that is going really, and that is really going to help you guys. So what we are considering here, the main function again, whose return type is void. Finally we have opened that function. Now I have taken a variable a who's storing the value 65 in it, and whose data type is integer. Now I am using a clr function whose function is to work and clear all the screen, clear the screen, and whatever is written on the screen, that is going to be cleared. So its function is to clear the screen. Finally we can say, now we can say that here we are using the printf function, therefore we can say that its function is used to display any message on the screen, and and that message should be within the double quotes. So I am using percentage c. Percentage c is the used for percentage c is a format specified, and we have studied about the format specified, that is going to be replace the value of a with its. Okay, and we have studied about that it should be within the double quotes. And finally we can say percentage c is used for character. So if a is containing the 65 value, then what should be the value of percentage c? If I replace this question with percentage d, then a will be 65. What? What will be the value of percentage c here? Because we are using a different format specifier as we have specified here. So we can say if we are using percentage d here, then a will be 65. What about this? This is percentage c. So percentage c means character. So actually a is in the format of integer, and it is in the format of character. It is in the format of integer. It is in the format of character. So a is 65. Therefore it is an ASCII value of a capital A. Therefore capital A is going to be printed on the screen. And this is what the logic says us. And this is the working principle of C language. And finally, we have uses the gauge function whose work is to hold the screen. But for the better understanding, you can say that when the user press any key, it's going to be executed. Means it will get a character from the user. Gauge is used to get a character from the user. So after getting a character from the user, the main function is going to be terminated. And this is how it works. So the output of this question is A, capital A, and that is what we are talking. So I think that you may have completed all the question. You have successfully completed all the question because it is a basic question in C language. And thanks for watching.